Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Language of Leadership. I'm your host, Chuck Martin. I want to welcome you here to the podcast where we're going to explore what it takes to lead in every aspect of our life, whether it's business, relationships, or even personal growth. And with it being the first episode of the new year, I thought I would tackle one of those topics that we all have heard people talk about. We've probably even talked about, and that is what goals are on your list. But I want to go and take it a little bit further. What goal on your list scares you to say out loud? We all have goals that we jot down in private, goals that excite us, but also they terrify us. Goals that feel so big and so audacious that we're afraid to even admit them to ourselves, let alone to others. And yet, these are often the goals that define our greatest potential. So today, I want to draw on inspiration that I have from the teachings of Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler. These two are the most impactful thinkers in leadership and coaching. Together, we're going to unpack why these big, scary goals matter and how you can move towards achieving them with clarity, courage, and commitment. The power of big, scary goals is something that we need to address, but we need to understand those goals. Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler often talk about stepping into the unknown, a place where growth happens. And these big, scary goals, or BSGs is what we can call them, live in this space. They're the goals that force you to confront your fears and challenges and even your self-imposed limitations. Rich Litvin says if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough. Why? It's because comfort zones are where dreams go to die. It's only when you're willing to step outside that zone that you discover what you're truly capable of. Some example of that for some might be leaving a corporate job to start a business, or for others, it might even be running a marathon, writing a book, or even asking for that promotion that you've been wanting. Whatever it is, it feels audacious and personal. And that's what makes it powerful. Why these goals are scary is because big, scary goals tap into our deepest fears. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of judgment, and even fear of success. These fears are the mind's way of protecting us from discomfort, but in reality, they hold us back from living fully. There's an inner game with goals that we play, and it's a mind shift change. Steve and Rich Litvin both emphasize that achieving big goals is less about strategy and more about who you become in the process. It starts with shifting your mindset. Steve Chandler says, you're not your circumstances. You're your thoughts about your circumstances. And this means the story you tell yourself about your goal will determine whether you succeed. We have to face those fears head on. Fear is a natural part of the process. The trick is not to eliminate fear, but to act despite it. Rich Litvin often uses the metaphor of surfing. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to ride them. So ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And then, what's the best that could happen? And often, the upside is going to far outweigh the risks. But self-belief isn't something you're born with. It's something that you have to cultivate. So start by keeping small promises to yourself. If you say you're going to wake up at 6 a.m., then do it. If you say you're going to write 500 words today, then do it. These small wins build trust in yourself over time. Now, there's an outer game of achieving big, scary goals as well. There's clarity and vision. Steve Chandler and Rich Litvin, they both stress the importance of being clear about what you want. A vague goal like, I want to be successful and I won't get where I need to be if I don't succeed. A clear goal like, I want to earn $10,000 a month doing work that I love gives you something specific to aim for. Visualization is an important part of it. Visualization is a powerful tool. So take time to imagine what achieving your goals looks like and feels. Picture the details. Where are you? Who's with you? How does it feel? The clearer vision, the stronger the pull towards it. And then you have to have a reverse engineering part of that goal. Once you have clarity, break your goal into smaller, actionable steps. This is a process that Steve Chandler refers to as chunking. If your goal is to write a book, your first step might be to outline the chapters. Then commit to writing 500 words a day. There's a power in commitment. Commitment creates momentum. When you're fully committed, you stop waiting for the perfect moment or the right amount of confidence. But instead, you're going to take action and you're going to figure things out along the way. But we have to overcome those obstacles. So, how do you deal with doubt? Doubt will come up, it's inevitable. Steve Chandler suggests treating doubt as background noise rather than letting it dictate your actions. So, ask yourself, what's the next smallest step that I can take? Progress, no matter how small, diminishes that doubt. And then you have to reframe it. There's no failure, only feedback. If something doesn't work, it's not a dead end, it's a lesson. So ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience and how can I use it to move forward? Creating those goals is going to help create accountability. So you have to share your goal with someone you trust. Rich Litvin emphasizes the power of being witnessed. When someone else knows your goal, you're more likely to follow through. So consider hiring a coach or even joining a mastermind and have those transformational powers of accountability in place with those individuals. Because then in turn, you're going to learn how to do that with your own clients and your own team. Remember to celebrate the wins of staying on course and achieving your goals and dreams. Celebrate those milestones. Every step forward is worth celebrating. Steve Chandler reminds us to acknowledge our progress rather than wanting and waiting until the goal is fully achieved. This keeps your motivation high and it's going to help reinforce your self-belief. You have to stay focused. Distractions will test you. Rich Litvin suggests creating rituals to stay focused. For example, start each day by reviewing your goal and why. Your why is important. If you find yourself losing momentum, reconnect with your vision. Remind yourself why this goal matters to you and what's at stake if you don't pursue it. Because there's a compounding effect to this. And small actions repeated over time lead to massive results. So remember, it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up consistently. So I have some final thoughts on this before we go on to learning more in the future of the language of leadership. Let's return to the question we started with. What goal on your list scares you to say out loud? What would it mean for you to step into that fear and declare it today? So here's my challenge. I want you to take 10 minutes today to write down the one goal that scares you the most, and then take one step towards it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be intentional. So remember this. The goals that scare you are the ones that will transform you. They're your bridge to life, and it's the life that you've always dreamed of. Take the first step, no matter how small, because your courage will inspire others to find theirs. You're not alone in your journey, and every leader you admire has stood where you stand now. The difference is they chose to leap. So leap. The net will appear. So if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone you know or someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to the Language of Leadership so you'll be on top of all the new episodes that will be coming out throughout the year. That insight and that inspiration is exactly what we as leaders need. We need to stay focused. So until next time, and until we meet again next week for another episode of the Language of Leadership, take care.